Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Lucy. Now we're getting all set up. We've had technical issues this morning. So weird. I don't think Mercury's in retrograde, so I'm not sure what the deal is. Good morning. Good morning. Let's get this live shared out. Let's share. Oh, is Jen in here? Let's see. I'm going to share this out real quick. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Get everything set up here. All right. Good morning. We have cool things to talk about today, friends. We got cool things to talk about. Probably going to do some readings. We'll see how things go. Could be fun. I have this cool deck too that my friend gave me. Where'd this come from? Hello, hello. Good morning. Hi, Amy. Good morning. Just kind of getting all set up. I went to turn on everything. Like I had already set up all the streaming stuff. I set everything up, and all of a sudden my computer just turned off. Just turned off. I was like, what's happening right now? It's like, yeah, your computer shut down for a problem. Like, no kidding. No kidding. Good morning, Laura. Good morning. Good morning. So I thought we're going to talk about some cool stuff today, actually. There goes my dog. She's on a roll today. I wonder what the deal is. She's been barking all morning. I know, it's been so weird. And like now I can't stream Instagram from my software, from StreamYard, and it's getting a little frustrating. So let me, it's all just acting weird. Everything's just acting weird this morning. So I don't know what the deal is. And at one point we got a notification yesterday saying, oh, and your MetroNet is restored. I'm like, oh, didn't know it was down. Okay. And anytime our neighbor, like we have a house being built right next door to us. So they have managed to cut our irrigation system. They've messed with our trees and our landscaping and all that stuff, even though there's boundaries there. Like, yeah. So interesting week. Full moon tonight. Was it tonight or was it already? It looked like last night was pretty good sized moon, but I'm not. Does anybody know? Anyone know? I have a whole 4 people in here. I'm telling you, TikTok right now is not pushing anything out of mine. I actually, just as an experiment, I had done like a paid promotion for one of my videos. Hasn't even gotten like 500 views, and it's a trending sound. TikTok is not loving on me right now. It's really frustrating. So like 4 people, I have 38,000 followers almost, and 4 people in my live. Not weird? I've only got 2 over here on YouTube. Anyway, so I'm not sure what the deal is. 777 portal, night before last. Got it. They've been doing, yeah, I know. I don't understand, Laura. I really don't. Like, I don't know what the deal is. So I really need you guys' help in tapping and sharing. Good morning, Yessie. I've missed you. So if we could do all the things, let's get us in. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. I have a whole 1 person watching between YouTube and Facebook. Well, on YouTube. So help us out. Help a sister out. Help a sister out. We're going to talk about non-attachment today. It's something that we just talked about. Full disclosure, we just talked about it in my class that I take with Reverend Glenda, who was a guest on here not too long ago. Good morning, Medium Destiny. Good morning. And just not, and it was a really great discussion, because that class that I take, I'm the baby in the group when it comes to like mediumship and spiritual work. The people that I'm in class with are just really profoundly amazing, smart people. Good morning, Michelle. And just having these really great in-depth discussions about not being attached to an outcome. So I thought we could talk about that today. And I have a perfect example of something that happened last night, that I want to talk about, that actually it has to do with not being attached to an outcome. And as a psychic medium, a lot of times we get information, we deliver the information, it may not make sense at the time. And is it our job to go in there and be like, no, I'm never wrong. It's right. It's right. It's right. I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. You're just wrong, or you don't get it. Nah, no, 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 no. It is not, because I had a situation last night where I ran into I was someplace that I wasn't even going to be. But all the fates pushed me there. Like, all the energy pushed me to land right where I was last night. And someone I've known for a long time came in and said, I was going to text you today and see if you wanted to meet me here tonight. I'm like, well, that's kind of awesome. And then she kind of broke down something that I had told her in a reading 2 years ago that came to pass. It made no sense. Hi, Krista. Good morning. It made no sense at the time. We just kind of were like, and I had to just have that attitude of, it's okay if it doesn't make sense right now. It may never make sense. No medium is 100%. Even the great John Edward, and we know Sylvia Brown wasn't always right. And like Teresa Caputo will say she's not 100%. These Matt Fraser, like all these big name, Tyler Henry, they'll say, I'm not 100% on. So as a good ethical practicing medium, it's really smart for us to take a step back and go, well, if the big dogs are even saying they're not right. Good morning, Carrie. Good morning. I was getting ready to talk about our little shindig. And how they're not always 100% right. And so I, as like little old me over here in central Indiana doing my thing, make sure you guys are following Carrie. That's my bestie. We have a show coming up, and I'm going to talk about it here in a minute. Or we've got a really cool opportunity in a couple of weeks that it's actually like in a week and a few days. We only have like 10 days. And we'll talk about it. All right. So anyway, we'll talk about, I do want to tell you a little bit more about what happened, like the thing that came to play last night and how it played out, because had I been attached to that outcome, had I not just let it go, it may not have played out the way it did. Right. So, thank you, Lucy. So just so you know, like, that's just, we cannot be attached to outcomes, because it goes back to, living a spiritual life. Are you really truly living a spiritual life if you're just so attached to how something turns out? So we're going to talk about non-attachment. We're going to talk about how it goes back. But let me talk about really quick. First of all, if you're new here, welcome, give a wave. Make sure you say hi if you're new to my channel. My name is Lorenda Carr. I'm a professional psychic medium, mentor, QHHT practitioner. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's past life regression. And I also do BQH, which is beyond quantum healing. Basically, I'm a quantum healer, because I do 3 different modalities that will help you heal, from identifying your past rooted, like where the cause, all the problems in your life, right, are caused by something, going back to the root cause, and fixing it. Identifying, because you can't fix something if you don't know where it started, right? All right. So really quick, we meaning Carrie, spirit and biz mentor, and my bestie. She's coming in to see me. Oh, that's okay. Thank you, Krista. We are offering, this is the first time we've ever done this, a live event on Zoom. It's a private event, and you can actually register you can either go to my link in my profile, or you can go to Carrie's website, carriecost.com, or my website, lorendacar.com. And we both have all of our upcoming events. We're only accepting 10 people, but every single person gets a reading from both of us. Let me just repeat that. Every single person gets a reading from both of us. Yeah. And there's only 8 spots left. So make sure you guys sign up. And it's going to be fantastic because I don't know if you all have seen Carrie and I work together before, but it's fire. It's fire. Also, where is my crown? Oh my goodness. I am not living my best life over here. Hold on. Also, are you guys laughing at me because I've got my bathing suit on? I'm going to a pool party after this. I'm going to a little pool hangout. And I'm like, I'm not wearing 2 outfits. I'll put a sweater on. We'll dress up my dress and put a sweater on. So yes, it's perfect. I'm feeling my Celtic vibe today. I'm really interested to see how it plays out and why. Usually when that happens, because I had a whole different bathing suit on and I heard, nope, wear the green. I'm like, okay, but this is, it's a couple of years old. I don't know if I want to wear an outfit that's a couple of years old. I'm kidding. It's my favorite bathing suit ever. But I've got a few. So I put on the green one because that's what Spirit told me to do. Spirit told me to. Oh, good, Tammy. I'm so glad that you said you're going to sign up. That's amazing. Yeah, it's so the event is July 19th. And I'm the McCready. That's cool. By descent. So it's July 19th, I believe. 7 p.m. Oh, Carrie, help me out if you're still in here. I forget what time it is. It's a Saturday evening. Oh, bummer, Laura. I mean, exciting for you guys, but if it goes well, we'll do another one. Okay. Yeah. 7 Eastern Standard Time. So that would make it 4:00 Pacific time. So be sure to sign up because we have limited spots. Okay. So yeah, I'm working on that presently with DNA Original Castle still standing. Ooh, that's cool. I love that. I love it. Hi, Jackerator. How are you? Good morning. Until you said it was a swimsuit, just thought it was a summer green top, pretty color. Oh, thank you. Yes, actually, here, I'll show you. I got it on Facebook. It's like a swim cover dress. It's actually a dress. Isn't this cute? But I have my bathing suit on underneath it. I got it online as a dress, and then I got it in the mail, and it was like, oh, look, it's totally see-through. Make a great swimsuit cover, though, because I already have my bathing suit matches it. So I'm living my summer vibes today. Going to Kentucky Renaissance Festival, Highland theme that day. Oh, very cool. Very cool. All right. So hello, Chrissy. How are you? Hello. All right. So we have our big event. Carrie and I have our big event coming up. And why is my dog barking her fool head off still? Like it has been nonstop all day. Like it makes me want to put her in the mudroom and be like, lay down, simmer down, take a nap. She's exhausting today. All right. So July 19th, 7 p.m., private event. The link is in my link tree. It's also in Carrie's. Make sure you're following Carrie. And yeah. So, anyway, today, yeah, should we do that? Oh my goodness. Hi, Ladora. Live Zoom. Yep. Link in the bio. Going back here. I feel like 100% humidity. Bleh, gross. Like I like hot weather. Don't get me wrong, but 100%. And I don't know. It's supposed to be pretty warm today here. All right. Thanks, Ladora. All right. So let's talk about not being attached to outcomes. I had the coolest thing happen last night. I started to talk about this a little bit ago, and it goes back to not being attached to an outcome, especially if you are a medium, or if you do any kind of psychic work, or if you do any kind of healing work in spiritual realm, and just doing it with your full chest, doing it, going all in, right? But what if it doesn't land? What if it doesn't stick? What if it doesn't make sense? And the person you're reading for or helping is like, nope. And it doesn't make sense. Right? Um, how do you handle it? How do you handle it? You know, there's a number of people in here that are practicing mediums that do readings here on TikTok. And there's a number of people in here that are in classes that are in development. How do you handle the no? How do you handle I have no idea what you're talking about? Yikes. And even worse is when you're on platform. Right? Like some things are supposed to be private, correct. But I do have a rule with spirit that like, don't bring me something in public that should not be. Okay, that is a rule with me because I don't want to out anybody's business or air anybody's laundry. And so I do have a pretty strict rule with spirit to not bring something up that could be damaging or that is private. Oh no, for you when you were doing a reading, Lucy. Yeah, it's tough when it's good morning, Justice. Ooh, okay. Oh, I love it. Okay, well, yes, keep your eyes on the road, but definitely listen because we're talking about non-attachment. And this works in regular life too, friends. Because when we do things, we set things in motion. Okay. So yes, if I feel it's going that way, I take it private. Smart. And see that's just the respectful thing to do. And if you work with your guides, if you work with your team, hi Jeannie, how are you? Oh yay. Hey, Carrie, somebody else just signed up for our shindig. Okay, so now we're down to only 7 spots available. Okay, so better get signed up if you're going to do it. Yay. Anyway, I got so distracted. Not being attached to the outcome and doing something because you know it's right. Or if you're doing a reading, then July 19th, Carrie and I are doing a private Zoom event. Information at my link tree. There it is. There's only 7 spots left now because somebody just signed up. And everybody that signs up gets a reading from both Carrie and I. So you get 2 mediums. And it's literally like half the cost of normal. Yeah. So we're only taking 10 people for the event. So if you can do it, jump on it. And if not, if you're busy, that's okay too. Like it is going to be magical. I'm super excited. Anyway, speaking of not being attached to any outcomes, when it's really hard when you're on a platform, because as you guys know, like I'm a platform medium, like I'll get it out on stage, I'll do private events or I'll do public events. I'll get out on, I work the platform at Camp Chesterfield at least once a month. This month is going to be twice. And you always run the risk of the message not landing. The person may not know what the heck you're talking about. And then how do you deal with that, right? I have learned, and what happened to me last night was just that proof that you can't be attached to an outcome and you have to just deliver the information that comes as it comes in. No attachment. You can't take it personal if it doesn't make sense. You are truly the messenger and that's it. Right? So last night, I'm not teaching at all this summer. Like I have people teaching classes. I thought I was going to be gone for 6 weeks, so I did not put myself on the schedule, but I'm available to sub. Well, my business partner was like, hey, I've got an opportunity to go do something with my other job, a fun day. Do you mind subbing? I'm like, that's fine. I didn't really want to. I was actually kind of doing it kicking and screaming because I had been, oh yeah, by the way, my knee is back to acting up. I'm not even kidding. So, my knee had been bothering me, but I was like, you know what? I'll go. And I was like, oh, wait, the Wine Vault, my favorite place next door to the dance studio, is having book club, which means a bunch of my friends are going to be there. I'll go. It'll be fine. And I hadn't been for weeks because I've been off work. And normally it's like right there. So I teach classes. Turned out like all these kids were like so excited to see me because they haven't seen me in weeks. And so that was kind of a good fun boost. And they were like asking about my summer, which I didn't think anybody, I don't know. I guess I feel like if I'm not someplace, people aren't missing me, but it was cute. So the kids were like, Miss Lorenda, you're awesome. I'm so excited. So I had a great night teaching. And then I went next door and I'm hanging out. And some of my people that went to France with us, like were there, and book club night. So we're all hanging out, having a good time. And in walks one of my really good friends. And she's like, oh my gosh, I was going to text you today. I'm like, well, why didn't you? And she says, you are not going to believe. Yay, Tammy just signed up. We're down to 6 spots, friends. We only have 6 spots left for that Zoom event, that private Zoom event. So she comes in, says, she goes, I know you don't remember readings. She said, but a couple years ago, you did a reading for me. I was like, I know, I remember. It was, here, because they had hosted me there at the Wine Vault for an event. And there was a whole situation with a green suitcase, and this grandmother was coming in. She had doubled down, and the reading was actually really good. But there was just that one little piece. I was like, green suit. It's an antique or vintage green suitcase. This is very important to her. I don't remember what all I said at the time, but I do remember talking about the green vintage suitcase, because she's like, I don't know. She goes, I will ask. And she was very open. And she's like, I'll ask my sister. And then her sister was like, well, I mean, grandma did get me a green suitcase for graduation, and it would be vintage because that was like 30 years ago. And it wasn't landing with me. And I was like, I mean, it could be, you know what? Let's just put it in the back pocket. It might be a weird thing that comes up later. So I was not attached to that outcome at all. This was 2 years ago. Okay. So then she's in there tonight or last night, and she says, you're not going to believe this. And she pulls out a picture. She had just been to her family. Her family lives in Canada, Texas, or something like that. I forget. Right. Exactly. Destiny. Even if you don't understand it. And I was not attached to that outcome. I let it go and we moved on. Again, the reading was great. She was very happy with it. So then she pulls out the picture of this suitcase, and it is and it looks exactly like what I saw in my mind, because it's very similar to one that I have as a prop. And that's what Spirit was showing me, was this old vintage suitcase that I had literally just purchased that week from an antique store as a prop, right? Good morning, Roger. And so I had that suitcase is what was in my mind. I was like, nope, it's vintage. It's an antique store. It's a vintage green suitcase. So we just put it away. She starts to show me she shows me the outside of it. And she goes, you're not going to, and it looks exactly like what I saw in my mind's eye. Right. Then she goes, and then she starts to change. She goes, I'm going to show you what's in it. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. Let's play a fun game. I want to see if I can remote view it, or if I can pull in and tell you what was in it. Because I had said there was stuff in it, wasn't there? And she goes, yeah. And she started, you could tell she was like, how did you know? And I was like, okay, hold on. Let me see if I can this will be a fun game. This is just me out in the wild in a group of friends, by the way. These are people that have seen me read before. We are friends. It's not like I'm just trying to unsolicited readings, right? Just so we're clear. Not being unethical at the grocery store. I said, let me see if I can do it. She's like, okay. All right. She pulls out the picture. She's ready. She's ready to go. And because these were all, and I said, there was stuff from her wedding this was from her wedding and her honeymoon. And she has this suitcase. And I said, there's a key in there. Her garter, her veil, her shoes. Like, I'm seeing all of these things that are in the suitcase. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? She's like, yeah. And then, and I said, okay, don't show me yet. And I said, the garter has something blue, like flat, like blue flowers. There's blue flowers. And like, I'm seeing all this stuff. All of a sudden I'm feeling grandma sitting on the couch next to me. I'm feeling her. Now, keep in mind, I am not the type of person, like, I'm not the type of reader that really does that. Like, I'm not out in the wild feeling spirits. I didn't intentionally connect to her. She just whooshed in, sat right down and was like, here we go. And then she talked about like her funeral. She talked about what she wore, what they dressed her in, how they did her hair. Then she was talking about all these things and everything. And I said, she's bringing up forget-me-nots and like all of this stuff. All of this stuff is just coming out. And I'm just allowing, it was a form of channeling. I was allowing her to just kind of send all that information through. Now listen, Lucy, it's a choice. It's not a must be nice. It's a choice. I'll say that. I'll die on that hill. It's a choice. You can turn them off. You can shut them down. If you don't want to be bothered out in the wild by spirits, you just shut them down. But we were actually in a safe space. So with trusted friends. So I didn't mind this grandmother coming in. So then, and I was like, she's talking about forget-me-nots. And she's like, are you kidding me? She's like, I just went to her grave and put forget-me-nots. Then grandma showed me her grave. And I described the grave, the gravestone, described the stone next to it. Like, this grandmother is showing me from her perspective all of these things. Hi, Alicia. So like, it was so, and my friend was very close to her grandmother. And then grandma brought in some family issues that were happening or that had happened. But what was cool, and this goes back to the privacy thing, she gave me key words to say without showing me the actual situation. So the things I was saying made sense to my friend. And then she told me, it gave her the autonomy to at least to disclose to me if she wanted to, told me about this thing that had happened in her family. And this was just grandma's way of acknowledging I saw this happen. I saw this play out, and gave some validation. So there was some message. There was message there as well. So it was just really, it was really cool because this is 2 years after I did the reading, 2 years. And I remember that because I was not as secure then as I am now, and in getting a no. And yeah, that's not true. I mean, I was still okay with getting a no, or that doesn't make sense. But now I'm just like, whatever, not even attached to that. So let's talk about how we take that and apply it to everyday life. How do we apply that? So how many times, show of hands, how many of you have thought like you really, really wanted something and you were planning for something and then it just didn't work out and you're like, what is wrong? What's the deal? But then as time goes on, you realize, oh, it was a good thing and that didn't work out. Right? Yeah. Literally everyone should be raising their hand. How many times has that happened? Right? Yeah, you think something's going to play out a certain way. You plan for something a certain way and it doesn't play out and you're disappointed, you're upset, and what's crazy? That happened when I was flying out to, it just happened. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, that happened when I was flying out to Oregon back in October. We had it planned down to the minute. Everything was planned. Carrie and I are planners. Right. We also understand that we had to live in the flow and things happen. You go with the flow, but we were planners, right? I slept through 2 alarms. My alarms never went off. I guarantee it. They never went off. And what's crazy is a week later, somebody else was complaining online about why are my alarms on my phone not going off? I'm setting alarms and I'm oversleeping because they're not going off. So that to me was validation that was crazy, wasn't it? And then I missed my flight. had to reschedule, had to go through a different city, ended up, which actually kind of worked out because I did have a little bit more of a layover. So, well, then that flight was delayed. So I got to go hang out in the Delta Lounge, which was no one was mad about. Had myself a little mimosa, some breakfast, nice little, and then I ended up meeting some people along the way that I never would have met had I not gotten delayed. And the conversations I ended up having with people really stayed with me. And I actually am pretty convinced that I was supposed to meet the bartender that served up my mimosa. Anybody else go order a mimosa and say, "Hi, I'd like a mimosa, but just hold the orange juice." That's how I roll. Hold the orange juice. It's all semantics. It's all for show. So anyway, I end up having a conversation. I don't normally when people say, "Well, what are you doing?" Or he was like, "Yeah, where are you traveling?" I'm like, "I'm going to Oregon. I'm going to meet my friend." He's like, "Oh, cool. Is it for work or for pleasure?" It's for color. That's right, Carrie. Um, and and I said, "Oh, I'm a psychic medium." I don't do that. I do not do that because one, I don't know people's belief systems. It's not that I'm ashamed of it. I just don't drop that, right? Oh, this is a triggering story time. Oh no. So I go and just say this, and he goes, "You know, I've always kind of believed in this stuff. And I feel like, I know things sometimes." Like we end up having a really cool conversation, and I could tell he was glad that I came and sat down at his bar because he was able to ask questions. He's like, "Do you mind if I ask a couple of questions?" I'm like, "Absolutely. I'm an open book here." But for that to fall out of my face without knowing my audience never happens. So that to me was spirit. And then I end up meeting another person during a delay where my flight was delayed. He's like, "Oh yeah, out of this airport, this specific flight is always delayed." I'm like, "I really wish I'd have gotten the memo on that." And I end up having a great conversation with him. He's a window architect, an architectural engineer specializing in windows and glass and structures and all that. So and um and and so he launches into this interesting conversation about stackable tolerances, and that ended up being a really interesting theme for the next week on spirit signs and sips, to be honest. And it was kind of a recurring theme for the next couple of weeks of understanding that you can put so much pressure on glass before it breaks, right? And he's like, but you can liken that to pretty much any kind of thing. And so we had this great conversation and got on the flight and never saw him again, whatever. And now what would be interesting, to be honest, is if I end up flying back out because he's on that specific flight all the time. He's like, "I'm on this flight like 3 times a week, going back and forth for work." So that'd be cool if when I go back out, if he's actually on that flight again, that would be cool. Anyway, because he was a really cool dude to talk to. But had I not overslept, had I not had to change flights, I would never have had those conversations. And what's crazy is everything still worked out. I still landed in Oregon. Carrie was still there. Like she wouldn't just show up. She wouldn't be like, "Oh, hey, your flight's late. I can't come get you." That'd be funny. So we still got to hang out. She still got me. It was great. And we still had an amazing time. And my trip was just that much more enriched. Right. So I was not attached to, yes, I was disappointed because it cost me more money. Grab an Uber. She's like, "Bitch, get an Uber." um, and so, oh, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. So anyway, not being attached to how things come out, because what if there is just a bigger plan, right? And you could look at that in very tragic situations as well. How many people, when 9/11 happened, were overslept or didn't, they were supposed to be in the tower, right? Um, or they should have been at work, but for whatever reason they were delayed and they were not there, even though that's not their MO. They're not normally late, right? There was that divine intervention that maybe we won't understand until we get to the other side. Sometimes we don't understand why things got delayed or played out the way they did. It can be in a good way or in a really negative way even. And not being attached to that outcome is what we're talking about today. So if you're new in here, if you're just joining us, my name's Lorenda. I'm a psychic medium. And we're just telling stories. We're talking about spiritual paths, or even just living out in the wild, being a human out in the wild, right? And understanding that it's about, if something doesn't go away that you planned it, learning how just to flow. You could either sit in that. Good morning, Courtney. You could either sit in that disappointment of not having it turn out the way you wanted it to, or what you planned, or how you planned. But how do you move on from that and just live in the flow? You could either sit in that and be miserable, right? Ugh, I need to hear this. Just found out my dad's not my dad. My dad is, oh my gosh. I'm a firm believer in our family is our family and can be just because we have DNA doesn't make them our family. Yeah. So yeah, Justice is saying the same thing, needing that message today. So, and this is, again, full disclosure. This is something that was just taught. It was the topic of conversation in my class that I take. And so this was not a new idea that a spirit just brought to me. It was very relevant to every single person in Reverend Glenda's class. And I was like, I feel like it's still sitting with me. And then the situation that happened last night, good. I'm glad, Caroline. And I've been kind of monitoring the situation, like you're not sure what you believe. And you know what? That's okay. Everyone has their own divine timing. And I've talked about this before, where we come in to this existence with a spirit team. And what if you chose, before you came in here, what if you're like, all right, we're in the planning phase. We're planning. Okay, so master teacher's coming in. Wah, 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 right? And master teacher says, okay, Lorenda, you're incarnating this time. Okay, so Lorenda, you're going to be the human. And then Lily, you're going to be the joy guide. You're going to be the teacher, Dr. Mike. Here's your assigned jobs, right? Oh, thank you, Truth Wave Energy. Here are your jobs. Oh, by the way, for the first 40 years or like forever, she's going to be an atheist. And this is not true, by the way. I'm just using myself as an example. And she's not going to believe you exist. And your job is going to be to get her through her life without her ever knowing you're there. Does that sound fun? Okay, good. Hands in, go team, go. Can you imagine being that spirit team that the people have, like the human has no idea that you exist and you still have to help them? Oh, that'd be awesome, Michelle. Okay, definitely. Just, you know where to find me. And can you imagine being that spirit team? Be like, oh yeah, no problem. We got this. And then this person doesn't know you exist. And you still have to guide them. Okay, just had this conversation with your wife the other day. So, and then there's also those on the other extreme. Okay, so you're going to go in and you're going to see the Schmed people. You're going to feel them. You're going to hear them. You're going to all the things. Hi, Roxanne. Agreed, Laura. Man, that's a tough thing to go through. So that person may be inundated with spirit because that's the path they chose before they came in, but then they don't bother with their team. They think it's just them. And I know probably 3 that I work with locally that are that way. They're like, "I don't use my guides. I don't need my guides. I see all the spirits." And I'm like, "Yeah, and when you deliver messages, they're wrong because your interpretation is wrong." And they don't, so they right? Or can you control it? The medium's always in control. People that say, I'm gifted, I can't control it. You can. There are ways to do that. And spirit will align you with the people that are needed here in this earth walk if you're meant to navigate that, right? Did anybody else just see that spirit just float on up? I'm looking to see if there was anything that was in front of my camera. That was cool. So it can be it can be the extremes, right? You will be given opportunities to see, hear, feel, understand spirits around you. But it's not necessarily to achieve your goals here in life, to fulfill your purpose, to learn the lessons that you signed up to learn, right? You don't have to believe. What you do need to do is not be a dick, right? Don't be a big jerk. Be nice to people. Be compassionate. Be empathetic. Be sympathetic. Help others on their journey, right? Not my place to judge anybody. Okay. I don't have to align myself with people if I don't agree with what they're doing. Right? Be amazing. Live the life that you feel you are meant to live, and live it at its fullest, right? That's really whether you involve spirit or not. And that's where I think I get really hung up and angry about religion, which we're not going to go down that big rabbit hole. But I think that no matter what the religion is, it's a dictation of what they think you should do in order to be successful. Their definition of success is very different than mine when it comes to spirit and living life, right? And I'm just here to say that we're moving into the age of Aquarius. Age of Pisces is the divine masculine energy and the patriarchal society, and it's on the way out. Thank you. Oh, you guys want to see something cool? The answer is yes. You definitely want to see something cool. Check it out. If you've read Fourth Wing, you know about this. But look at I got my new blanket. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? It's got dragons on it. I just got it. I forgot to show that off. And it's got a castle on it and everything. So if you've read the book Fourth Wing, oh, that was a fuzzy thing. That was not a ghost. If you've read Fourth Wing, you know that is yeah. End all be all. I know, right? I got it on TikTok shop. Just saying. So, you're going to love it. Oh, you're going to love it, Amanda. It's so good. So good. So anyway, I derailed there. Got sidebar about the dragons so you can have an existence without necessarily doing this work. Period. Now, because of my belief system, if I'm having a conversation with someone who says, they believe a certain way, and they believe I'm going to go to HE double hockey sticks, if I don't believe the way they do, then we're having a conversation. We're having a conversation because I'm going to tell them, I don't believe that place exists. I don't believe that place exists. I think we go to a realm that matches our energy. So, and did I have another orb? Cool. I love it. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, Meredith is fantastic. I want to be her best friend. I don't know if she wants to be my best friend or not, but I definitely want to be her best friend. I adore her. Good. I'm glad you got a lot out of it, Michelle. Good. So anyway, Not being attached to the outcome. Thank you guys for being part of my team. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, and we're at 20,000 taps on 20,000 likes on TikTok. Thank you, thank you. And actually, you guys make sure you're hitting the hearts over here on Facebook and however it is for YouTube. Hi, Lucas. Good morning. All the way over there in Switzerland. How are you, my friend? I was thinking about you 2 days ago because somebody said, well, it is July. We got to start planning for Halloween. And I just laughed out loud because I thought of you, my friend. I was like, it is July. We do need to probably think about it a little bit, but maybe not till August. But now the 4th of July is over. Basically, it's Halloween season. I'm just saying. So anyway, going back to our topic at hand, not being attached to any outcomes, and doing that in an everyday life. I am surrounded today. I got a lot going. I got a lot of energy today. So what was really cool about my situation last night, where my friend came in and was like, oh my gosh, here's the vintage thing. And then I was seeing it. What was really interesting to me, because I was almost on the verge of tears because for 2 days, well, since Sunday, when if you guys want, also, if you don't already, you should definitely follow Carrie Cosp and on YouTube as well as me, because we do a thing twice a month called the channeling experiment, where she and I both channel, like trance channeling entities. And this Sunday, I brought through someone who called herself Saint Clair. And she said patron saint of music. And I'm like, that's Cecilia. That's not Claire. But however, we looked it up and she was part of the Franciscan. She was a Franciscan sister, which made sense. I channeled Saint Francis a couple of weeks prior to that. And she was a Franciscan sister, and music was such a huge part of their practice. Oh, that was awesome. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Love it. And then St. Lucy came in, which was just crazy to me. So deep dive. Oh, you guys. Okay. Let me back up here. You should watch the channeling experiment. Go watch those videos. They are long, but there are timestamps so you can see where the channeling happens if you want to like fast forward through the banter, right? But I do put on there timestamps of each topic we discuss, so you can just look in the description and see like where things fall. You just found out there's a St. Lucy. There is. She's my patron saint. Like that's when I became Catholic, yes, Angel, she was. Saint Lucy's my patron saint, because at the time there was a lot going on politically. It was very distressing to me, and I felt her come to me. I felt called to her because she's the patron saint of the blind. And if you look at Saint Clair, she is the patron saint of spectacles, people with vision problems, and TV and computer screen users. You can't make this up. Can't make it up. Like, it was crazy. You have a Chihuahua named Lucy. It's a popular dog name, actually. Oh my gosh, my dog, Olive, her middle name is Lucia, because she is an Italian breed. So we call her Olive Lucia, which is Lucy. Isn't that crazy? So anyway, I forget where I was going with that whole deep dive going back, but make sure you go back and watch, because since channeling those two saints, very humbling, by the way. And St. Anthony the other day, to find something lost, found it. I'm telling you, those saints will show up, man. They got nothing better to do but hang out and wait for us, right? I love calling on saints. And so, and your name was Lucia. I love that, Christy. I love that. You have a chicken named Juicy Lucy. That's crazy. That's funny, actually. Good morning, Brina. But since then, my connection to spirit has been off the charts. Off the charts. Like, so when that interaction with my friend happened last night, the things that I was seeing, the things that I was feeling, knowing that that energy was sitting next to me, I could see her in my mind's eye. There was just, it's just been a really cool, like, it feels like a bit of an expansion, I guess. And the thing is, I have very strong boundaries. I know how to like disconnect a spirit and like close the channels. And it could have been last night because it could have just been because I'd had a glass of wine and I was just like, and I was with friends but I was like on the verge of tears the whole time because the amount of information I was getting was so incredible. And I'm like, I hope this sticks. I hope this sticks. And again, not being attached to that outcome though. With the channeling Zoom event, do we ask questions or is it whatever spirit brings in? Ooh, good question. I am that person. If you're going to pay me for a reading because you want to directly connect to a spirit, when I say to you, what would you like to get out of your time with me? Please answer. If you want to talk to your mom, say, I'd like to speak with my mom today. She's on the other side. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know anything else. And I'm going to invite your mom in. It's still my job to prove up who, like with evidence of that I have mom here. Sometimes maybe mom isn't going to be the first to step up. Maybe another relative steps up first and then, or another loved one steps in first, then, but I'll still feel mom in the wings. Right. And that could be Lucy. That could very well be. But no, because I had done a reading earlier that day and then one the day before, and the information was overwhelmingly coming through. And also I did trance channeling for one of them, which I don't normally do. I don't normally do trance for private readings. It was cool. So, anyway. Oh shit, forgot what I was talking about. I would not be very good at my own TV show. There'd be a lot of edits. Also, what are you guys drinking? I've got my watermelon lemonade. It's my favorite flavor. So anyway, not being attached to the outcome is what we're talking about. And being open to receive information that may not be necessarily making sense right away. All you coffee drinkers, I wish I liked coffee, but maybe not. Maybe it's a good thing that I don't. Probably saves me money. Drink my first cup of coffee for the day. Truth Wave Energy is like, ooh, love the rabbit hole. I know, sometimes I do too. We just follow it, right? I know this fellow named Hecklefish that likes to say the rabbitest of holes. I love that phrase, actually. That's great. Lemon water, now chocolate almond milk. Oh, that sounds yummy, Amy. That sounds good. Cherry bubbler. Ooh, that sounds intriguing. What is that? I'm gonna have to check that out. Oh, that's pretty good. Is it like a soda? What is that? Hey, that's not boring, Roxanne. That's like healthy. Justice says, my ADHD follows your tangent so well. I actually really appreciate it. I'm glad somebody likes it. I'm really glad that somebody I'm glad people can follow me. Watermelon iced tea. Oh, girl, that sounds good. It's enhanced water. Okay, that sounds yummy. I'm going to check into that. I guess it could be both. It could be both. Boring and beneficial. In mediumship, it's actually really important to stay hydrated. Did you know that? Lesson for the class. It's important to actually stay hydrated. And you will find that, oh, my eye itches. I've got like this, it's filled with water. This, would you like fries with that? Filled with water. Then I've got, I got an empty one, and I got water. And then I've got another bottle of water. I've always got water around here. I'm always drinking water because it actually acts as a conduit for spirit. Did you know that? By the Allen at Applebee's. Coffee with oat milk and caramel cream. I really, again, wish I liked coffee, but I don't. Watermelon in the fridge. I love watermelon. Fun fact, did you guys all know that I used to work on a watermelon farm? It was a watermelon and cantaloupe farm in southern Indiana, Vincennes, Indiana. I've heard having more than 2 drinks is an indication of ADHD. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6. I have 6 around here. My husband always has 4 drinks minimum. He's so weird, and he doesn't understand people with ADHD. I'm like, okay. Our neighbors have called him and like, did you know your husband's car is out in the driveway and the trunk's open and the front door's open? Like, nope, didn't know that. He will just forget to close things. Thanks for the reminder. I have a succulent watermelon waiting for my consumption. I love watermelon. But now I'm bougie because I picked him. I know, right, Amanda? I've noticed many mediums are actually on the spectrum for AD. Oh yeah, we are bad. It's really bad. I don't know. He gets so, I don't know how he gets anything done. He's still probably one of the most brilliant people I know. The amount of information that man holds in his mind and the type of work he does, he is 9 times out of 10, when we're out in public, he is the smartest man in the room. Like, hands down. I have so much respect for how smart he is and how he utilizes it to the best of his ability. But what's funny is I've never, ever, ever seen him pick up a book and read it. Ever. We've been married 27 years. Isn't that crazy? He's never read a book. So crazy. It's nice to have an excuse. My front door was sanded 5 years ago and needs to be painted still. That's an overwhelm can be part of ADHD. My husband forgets to close cabinet doors, and my kids do also. Oh, I know. It's the worst, man. It's the worst. I'm like, just do it in the moment. If you don't do it in the moment, you're going to forget. So, yeah, ADHD is definitely a spiritual mediumship thing. Now, what's funny is my husband doesn't really necessarily, it's not that he doesn't believe in what I do. He just doesn't feel it, doesn't get it. Doesn't make sense to him. I think he did Catholicism because he was told he had to do Catholicism. He doesn't really necessarily believe it. He just believes in like pretty much be smart and do better kind of guy. He's that guy. His poor spirit team. Exactly. He's that guy. But I tell you what, he can read people. He can, and I'll see him process. He's not a talker. He's a listener, which is, he has to read lips and stuff because he is really, really hard of hearing. Can I read him when he's around me? Oh, totally. Totally. But he'll meet someone and like later he'll be like, oh yeah, that guy's a da 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 da. And I'm like, that you got all that from that conversation? You got all that. And he was like, yeah, it's just common sense. Like that, there was nothing in the conversation that says common sense. at all. But you know what though? That's his path. His path is not to be what mine is. My husband was fascinated until I went public. Now he's not sure if I should be doing it. Oh, well, whatever. He can, never mind. Hi, Lee. Oh, dude. I was like, I did hashtag don't be a dick earlier. And I was just waiting for you to pop in. It's like your bat signal. All right. Lorenda, is your husband spiritual? My girlfriend is not very spiritual. She is awesome, but not spiritual. I find it interesting how we find people that ground us in such a great way. It allows us to work. Yes, that is correct. Truth wave energy. Because he's really not spiritual. Now, when I tell him things, it's not that he doesn't believe me. I think he believes that what I do is legit because the evidence has been so overwhelming, right? He used to try to say things like, well, that's of the devil. I'm like, what do you know of the devil, dude? Like, it's the devil, Bobby Boucher. Like, what the hell? Right. And okay. Tell you what, you recite the Catholic's creed to me. Say the Hail Mary. If we're so Catholic, start regurgitating, buddy. Couldn't because it was all not Bobby. It's Bobby Boucher. Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? You do you, I do me. We don't have to be on the same page. But he's not religious. He just went to Catholic school, so he thought he had to be Catholic and started to do Catholic things. And he's also convinced that it's because of Catholic school that he's smart. I'm like, nah, she's the devil. That's right. Vicky Valancourt. They believe, but simply not into it. Yes, exactly. And so I think with the things that have come through, when I've told him about readings, still being discreet and being respectful of the privacy of the person I read for. But when I tell him, oh, I got my little puzzle piece here. When I tell him about specific things that came through, like there was one specifically. It's foosball is the devil. That's right. Oh my God, you guys are killing me with these quotes. You guys are killing me with these quotes from it's the devil, Bobby Boucher. Oh my gosh, Adam Sandler. What was the name of that movie? ADHD moment. Waterboy, that's right. I was like, why is it leaving my head? My daughter told me all about a friend after I saw her true colors. See, it does happen. Like we can read people, and it's important to acknowledge, you know, when we get a gut feeling about someone. High quality H2O. That's right. I just couldn't believe I forgot the name of it. That's so funny. And it's just really, I love my husband because now we're in a space. Oh my God, you guys are cracking me up right now. I'm gonna have to watch that movie again. I haven't seen it in so long. It's the devil. Anyway, I think when I was going through my high level, I have to make a choice. I know my soul hurts. My physical being hurts because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm living under a rock. I'm living in patriarchal marriage. My husband's trying to dictate everything and like, I'm a dance teacher. I've always been a dance teacher. And he was like, you should be a nurse instead. You need to go back to school and be a nurse. And like, he started shaming me because I was not a nurse, because I could work 3 days. It'd just be really easy to go to nursing school and be a nurse and work 3 days a week and be there for the kids the rest of the time and make money. Like he decided that's what my path should be. And I'm like, have you met me? Like, no. But he just didn't like that I did dance, because dance to him was just a passion. I'm like, I'm running a whole ass business. What are you talking about? I'm a director. I make good money at what I do. He was ashamed of that. And then when I worked for, like, again, this is his upbringing. We've worked through all those things. We finally get through all of this because I say to him, I'm making a choice. I have to do this work. And if it comes down to you or God, I'm probably going to go with God, because nothing about his belief system was actually religious. It was control, which is what patriarchal society and organized religion often does, right? So he was living in that. And I'm over here going, yeah, I don't know. Have you met me? This isn't going to work out long term. And so I chose to go that path. And then I was like, you clearly don't like what I do. We're not meant to be together. I'm okay. We're just going to have to go our separate ways. And I moved out. And I was ready to, like, I was filing for divorce and everything. And he was like, hey, wait, what? Hold on, wait, what? You're serious? You're going to actually leave? Oh, yeah. Mother-in-law says you should. Oh, well, bummer for her. That's her being attached to an outcome, which is what this whole conversation has been about. We're ingrained to take the easiest path sometimes. It's true. And I finally just decided to step into my spirituality and step into what I was doing, because I was seeing what I was doing for people was making a huge difference. I was helping people. I was letting them know that their loved ones were okay and that they were getting messages. You are the Vicky Valancourt. Now, I will say Matt's family loves me, but I think his ex-girlfriend and ex-fiance, whoever she was, might have been a problem. I think she was the Vicky well, yeah, she was their Vicky Valancourt. So she really upset me this past weekend. Maybe that's why I popped in and found you. Maybe, Lori. So welcome. Make sure you follow me. I'm on every Thursday. And not me. So hi, Lynn. Welcome in. So some of these examples, even our mother-in-laws, right? Or our in-laws, or my husband was attached to some impossible outcome. So his life was spiraling out of control. He was angry because he had this idea, because of how he was raised, of what a relationship should look like, what good Catholic girls do, which, by the way, when we met, I was like, yeah, I'm not, that's not my path. It really wasn't his either. So I don't know what he was complaining about. But once I stepped into my truth and I was okay with whatever happened, I had no idea. He was the breadwinner. Like, he made all the money. I had to be okay with going back to broke, going back to hustling, going back to, working multiple jobs if that's what I needed to do, because I knew I needed to do this work. And am I a millionaire because of it? No, not even close. Am I able to do nice things for myself and contribute to our family and help write that check for my son's college? Absolutely. I'm able to take my kids out and go get them nice things occasionally because they're students and young professionals. Absolutely. His mother would definitely fake a coma, though, so I would rather be a Vicky. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I'm sending you all kinds of good vibes, Laura. It sounds like you've got your hands full, is what it sounds like. So, good. So these in-laws that have, for example, if we're taking the spiritualism out of it, right? How many people do you know are miserable because they or their loved ones had this predetermined destination for them, and this preconceived notion of how their life should turn out? Hi, Susan. Make sure you guys are following Susan. She's awesome. Because we're talking about, Susan, we're talking about non-attachment today. It was the topic of discussion in my class with Reverend Glenda. And we're talking about non-attachment today. And how, whether it's spiritual walk or human earth walk, right? Muggle life. And how many mother-in-laws are disappointed because their little boy didn't marry a good Catholic girl. as if no other female on the planet could possibly be okay if they're not Catholic, right? So that's just one example. And she's a devil. So, and I know not everybody in his family shares the belief system that I have. I'm okay with that. Whatever they want to believe, they can believe. But none of them walk a spiritual walk. And in my family, they can judge me all they want, but they don't have a spiritual path either. So if you've got your own spiritual path and you have a belief system and you don't agree with mine, that's okay. Right? That is okay. Just don't tread in my water. Don't come in here and try to dictate to me and tell me what I'm doing is wrong. And I won't do that for you. Because also I'm just not the one. Oh, geez. That's the worst. Good morning, April. Hi, Rebecca. Good morning. So we're talking about belief systems and non-attachment, mostly non-attachment. That's the theme of the day, non-attachment. So not being attached to an outcome, whether it is a spiritual thing or whether it's muggle life. Anyway, that's where we are. We're talking about just not being attached to anything. So, hey, it's 11:15. Well, my time anyway. Are we feeling like we're learning things? I hope so. I hope you guys are learning things. How many of you feel like you came into this, like spirit brought you here? You're like, I needed to hear this today. Like, this is exactly what I need. She now said she needs to buy him a shorter bathing suit because that's the style. Wow. Yeah, muggle life. It's true. We have to have muggle existence. Just saying. Or muggles. It's the embodying the meat suit situation. So if you're not following me on all the other platforms, please do. Hey, turn. Hello in Sweden. Hello, Swedish Charlotte. I've not been to Sweden. I've been to Switzerland, but not Sweden. Been to a lot of countries, but not Sweden. That is on my bucket list of places to go, though. Hi again, Susan. Welcome back. Right? It's true. It's muggle life is very appropriate to call it. Sometimes when you're out in the wild, you just, and as a psychic medium, for instance, I like to have that difference of my spiritual conversations, my spiritual life, and living the human life. Good morning, B. Now, does that mean that muggle life should not incorporate my spiritual self? Absolutely not. It does not mean that. It means I'm not going to be on call 24/7 for spirit to come through and just do readings out in the wild all the time. But what I do love doing is engaging my spirit team for myself when I'm out. I love it when they show me oranges because I know that they're around, and that's their way of going, hey, let's play a game. Let's do something fun together. Let's learn together, because I know they're learning from me as well as me, as I'm learning from them. They're also learning from me. And that has actually come through in some of my channeling. In some of my channeling sessions is that I'll see my students' teacher guide hanging out with my teacher guide. Carrie and I, our guides, they're besties. They hang out together. I just channeled a client's, oh yeah. So I started doing, I haven't put a video out about this yet. You guys, I think I'm going to start offering a new service. Okay, that's funny, Susan. Thank you for telling me that. I love that. This is Spirit's way of saying, let's play a little game. Oh, now I forgot what I was going to say, though. Shoot, I got sidetracked. What was I just talking about? What did I start to say? Help me out, friends. Oh, playing the games. That's hilarious. So I love it when spirit is like, yeah, okay. Oh yeah, the new service. I really got derailed, didn't I? New service. I think this is what I'm going to offer for people wanting to do as a spiritual. I'm a spiritual mentor, right? And I teach my 2 classes a month. I don't teach that many classes because I teach so much dance. I do have to still be a human. I've actually ended up channeling a couple of times people's spirit guides, like their joy guide and their teacher guide. I just did that for a client Monday, Monday or Tuesday, or what's today? Thursday. This week, I did that. And because this person had questions and I could feel their team here. And well, I wasn't going to like out you, Roxanne. What did you think of that, Roxanne? What did you think? Because I thought it was pretty awesome. Because I wasn't me trying to interpret anything. I just let them step in and speak to you. They identified themselves. And then they were talking about how he was like talking to my spirit guide, and then your joy guide came in and spoke, and she was a lot, man. She was a lot of energy. But I think I might offer that as part of for someone who wants to be on a spiritual path, but doesn't necessarily want to be a medium. But even then, I guess if you want to be a medium, you can still do it too. But I think I thought about doing something like that, like really. But then also not just I'm not a big person who thinks that it's my job to introduce your guides to you or to name your guides for you. And so I try to just empower people to meet their guides on their own through meditation. I'll walk people through that meditation. And so like, for example, Roxanne, she's taken some of my classes. So she's gotten impressions of her guides. And she'd gotten names, but really hadn't really delved in much further than that. Right. So I was like, well, I could feel them. I almost stepped into, like, I was already doing something that one of her guides does. I could feel them really moving in. And I was like, I feel like I could just channel them. You want me to get out of the way and you can just talk to them directly? She had whole conversations with her guides. And my conscious mind was just back here like, not doing anything, just not paying attention, right? I could still see what was kind of going on with these other spirits. But it was really cool because then she was able to ask direct questions about whatever she wanted to ask. And it worked out great. So I'm thinking, were you present the whole thing? Like, do you remember what was said? I don't remember what was said. At this point, none. I would literally have to go back and watch the video. Oh, which, by the way, I'll get that sent to you today. I would have to go back and watch the video. Because in the moment when I come out, it's just like hypnosis. And you've done QHHT, Roxanne. It's the same thing. When you come out of the experience, you remember everything. I laughed like him. Oh, that's awesome. In that time, I remember, but then as like maybe within half an hour, gone. No, I don't remember. I remember this because I remember he was pressing really hard. I could remember embodying some of those mannerisms that he may have had. And I feel like he was excited because he hadn't been in a body for so long. He was getting adjusted. So the fact that Jesse was seeing our guides while on the bus to the way, right, Amy? Yes. So in one of the classes, we took a bus ride with all the spirit guides to the Akashic records. And Jessie, Psychic Biker, if you don't follow her, you need to. She's awesome. And she could see all of our guides. Not only that, she described them, and we were like, what? And she was right. Like how we saw them, how they present to us, she could see them. I know. Isn't that crazy, Amy? She's such a powerfully spirit connected. I know. It was cool. It was awesome. So I think I might offer that like as part of a session. I know. I got it. I'm getting ready to. Because that was such a neat experience. And I've done that maybe a couple other times. Thank you, Roxanne. I appreciate it since it was your session. I was trying to be like, oh, and Roxanne, you know. But it was a really neat experience. And I really am finding that I have a love of doing trance channeling. That's something this has been a year of me working a lot on trance channeling and or trance mediumship. And it's been really fun to do. I could see things when young, but not anymore. But I've been told I have the gift of precog. Interesting. That's kind of, I mean, you could step into that energy and start developing it if you want to. Yes, nice idea for confirmation. I feel it's something I need in beginning of this journey. Ooh, okay, Tammy. There we go. You can do mediumship, Laura. We all can. And if anybody comes along and says, not everybody can be a medium, only everybody can be psychic, but not a medium. Not true. We're all spirit. We're all connected divinely. We literally have an energetic link to the other side. So all of us could. Should we all? No. Not everybody should. And not everybody came here for that. Not everybody's path. Right, Susan? We'll just stop that conversation there. My mom's picture kept popping up today. Ooh, if I could talk to my dad, that'd be great because I got some. I bet you do have some questions. I bet you do. Yeah, I mean, that would be. And one of the things I would like to do, and by the end of the year, this is one of my manifestations, going back to Amy bringing up the bus. Thank you for the reminder, the bus ride to the Akashic Records, because what we did in that class is we did a guided meditation, brought our guides with us. We got on a bus and we all took a field trip to the Akashic Records. It was an experiment in manifestation because somebody had said, well, when I go to the Akashic Records, when I meditate or try to look at my stuff, the pages are blank. And why do you think that is, friends? Why would the pages be blank in the if you're at the Akashic Records and they hand you your book or your scroll or whatever it is, why is it blank? Nope. Why would it be blank? Right, Jen? Because it hasn't been written. We have free will. We make choices every day. Right. It's blank. So our experiment, it's not even so much that. And so what I did, I said, okay, so when they hand it to you and you see the blank page, has it occurred to you to go back a chapter or two? What's in the past? What's already happened? So we went in. One of the goals was to go in and ask to be shown a chapter of our life or our existence as a soul, past life, whatever, that would be relevant to today's life, that would be connected to today's, like the lessons we're learning here as a result of the past. Okay. So everybody was shown a past. But then the other thing was before we did the meditation, we were like, let's come up with one thing that's with 24 to 48 hours that's going to happen, that we want to have happen. 2 weeks, something would happen. And then before the end of the year, we were going to write those into the blank page. Okay. And it was, Amy, it was a great experience. And so we all decided for the 24 to 48 hour thing, oranges, because it was kind of funny. Right. And by the way, that was not my idea. It was Courtney's idea. Oranges. And that ended up being a really funny thing, how that all played out. Okay. Then the 2 to 4 week, I wrote that in. I wanted to get Kelsey Mitchell's autograph. I was on the fence between Kelsey Mitchell autograph, WNBA Fever player, Indiana Fever player, or book 5 services. Get 5 services booked, because I had forgotten to open up my calendar for July, and I had nothing on my calendar. I'm like, how am I not booked? I'm never just not booked. It's because I hadn't put my schedule open. People thought I wasn't available till like September or October. So I was like, oh, let's start with that. And then, so I wrote in the Kelsey Mitchell autograph. 7 days later, I got her autograph. And 5 bookings. I didn't even write it in there. My third manifestation was to be able to do a seance of guides and loved ones with a group of people. And so I feel like Spirit's like, okay, she wants to do this, let's do this. And so I've been receiving a lot more information. I've been doing a lot more trance channeling, trance mediumship, and then Carrie and I are doing that cool channeling experiment on YouTube 2 Sundays a month. Our next one, by the way, is July 20th. And if you miss them live, that's okay, because they're on YouTube, they're recorded. You can go back and watch them. Okay. So just make sure, go check them out. And they're time stamped. So you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can go see where each of them are labeled, like who we were channeling. Okay. So go check them out. If you want to see what St. Lucy had to say, go check out St. Lucy. If you want to see what St. Clair had to say, go check her out. And then Carrie brought through Ra. Hi, Jen. Isis brought through Isis, and Ra. And I brought through St. Lucy. St. Lucy. Yep. The St. Lucy, patron saint of the blind. The saints seem to think I'm a good conduit right now, because St. Francis came through a couple weeks ago. The name of your town. That's right. I forgot you're from there. So if we're manifesting hard and it just doesn't happen, then it's just not meant to be. So that's where we have to let go of the outcome, the non-attachment, which goes back to the beginning of this whole conversation. You put it out in the universe. Anyway. Damn it! Now I keep forgetting what I was talking about. My ADHD brain is in overtime right now. Boundaries. I feel like people who are born with open channels have a harder time learning to manage it than those of us that developed it. Yes, Chosen and Touched is a perfect example of that. Like, she's been seeing spirits since she was a kid. She's been like it. And that could be overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking at, right? And for me, I knew things. I could pick up on people's feelings. I could pick up on, I knew kind of when things were going to go sideways, or I knew things weren't going to end well, but I kind of grew up in a culture of children to be seen and not heard. Nobody would listen. And so I just kind of put it on. And I was also raised in Bible Belt, Indiana, like where that stuff was the devil. Back to that. Which I was lucky. My mom was all about it. She thought it was cool. And so stepping into it, I've been able to control what comes into me, where chosen and touched, Lucy, is a perfect example of how do I control this? It's been, I've seen it my whole life. So it's all about how things come in. Spirit's going to meet you where you are. Okay. Maybe your DNA structure doesn't allow certain things to happen. Maybe your path, your chosen path is not necessarily to do this work. So as professionally, but you can still have a spiritual life. You still have a spiritual team and which I started talking about earlier and I totally got sidetracked. Shocker. And you can, some people are freaked out by it. So they're like, I don't want to see this. My daughter's a perfect example. My oldest, she used to laugh at spirits. My middle child came out of the bathroom one day and she was like 2 years old or 3 years old. She's like, there's no such thing as ghosts. And stomped out of the room. I was like, she must have just seen a ghost. She must have just gotten something. And her imaginary friend was Bob. She talked about Bob all the time. So your main spirit guide's male and stands there with his arms crossed. Well, that's all right. That's probably your teacher guide, by the way. You're what we would call your teacher, your professor, your philosopher guide, your education one. Good old Bob. I know, right? Your dragon is Bob. That's cool. So we can receive information multiple ways. It all depends on where our path. I think I was supposed to be on a path without spirit for many, many years, without spirit connection. And then when I was told over and over and again, I needed to do this work, then I stepped into that energy. When I, as an adult, was able to step into that and manage it. But not everybody is meant to do this work all the time, and that's okay. But what I like to teach people is how to live your highest spiritual life. If you're going to be if you want to be a professional medium, great. I can teach you how to do that as well. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to like know your team and know your purpose and live your best spiritual life, I also teach that, just so you know. That's what my classes on Wednesdays are good for. Teaching spirit connection, learning how to utilize spirit in the best way for yourself and live your best life. And Laura, you know what? You might like my classes. They're only, well, right now they're $20. The prices are going to go back to their normal price in August, which is $25. It's 2 hours. They're always longer than that, by the way. And I teach them twice a month. It's all level spiritual development. Go to my thing and check them out. And a lot of the people in my classes are not trying to read professionally. They're just trying to live their best spiritual life. And what I have found is for most people that learn to get to know their spirit guides, they understand how they can connect to spirit, how they can utilize spirit in their everyday life. Fear disappears. Attachment to outcome falls away. Fear of death even falls away. It's amazing to me how walking in the spiritual path, living a spiritual life, connecting to your spirit guides just for everyday learning can be so comforting and so rewarding. And it allows you, I feel, it allows you to live your life to the fullest. That's just where I am. I vibrate at a whole different level. I find you interesting in the way you're teaching. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate that. I feel like I'm a good teacher. I've been a dance teacher for 37 years. So I feel like I've always been a good teacher, and I have a hard time learning, which I think makes me a better teacher because I have to get super creative in how I learn things. So I do try to meet people where they are. Thank you, Yessie. Meet people where they are and help them tap in to figure out their best way of learning. Thank you, Ermi. Make sure you guys are following Ermi. She's awesome. She's going to be on my show too. I gotta arrange that with her assistant. I got to get that on my schedule. Need to learn some dance moves for a Sweet 16 party. That's awesome. Hello, Ermi. Make sure you guys are following her. She's awesome. So anyway, really quick recap here. Non-attachment. Theme of the day. Not being attached to an outcome, whether that's with your family, with spirit, with plans you think you've made. Think about what your definition of success is. All right. My definition of success growing up was I would be on Broadway. I'd be a star, professional dancer. And if I did anything else, and if I didn't do that, then I was a failure. Well, I've yet to be on Broadway as a professional dancer, and I would not consider myself a failure. I'd say I'm doing all right. Right. So your definition of success has to be fluid, I feel, in order to be in a flow of non-attachment. This is my Broadway. This is my TV show. People are like, yeah, I want to be famous someday. Like, I am famous. 28 people watch me. 5 people watch me on YouTube. So there we go. I am famous. This is my version of Broadway. Thank you, Ermi. So everybody's got their own definition of success. And when you're not attached to the outcome of what makes it successful, we'll find joy every day. So when people say, well, how am I supposed to be happy? How can I be happy? That's a question I get a lot as a psychic medium. Will I ever be happy? Like, I don't know. Will you ever choose happiness? Because you could have everything in the world. You could be doing readings in a wine room. You could have that life. You could own Porsches. You could own Lamborghinis. You could own Ferraris. Bucket list, by the way. I'll let you know when I get my first Ferrari. I'll let you know. I'll probably give it a dragon name too. How cool would that be? Ooh, something. I'm going to write that in my manifestation Akashic record, right? Live from the Ferrari. So it's choosing the joy, understanding your definition of success, and are you attached to that definition of success? Think about how many people. I look at my husband, who is probably, again, one of the smartest people I know, one of the most successful people I know, and he's still not happy with everything. He doesn't feel like he's really reached success, and he has to work 7 days a week to get to it. I'm like, has it occurred to you that maybe you are successful? I mean, after all, you married me. And I challenge him all the time. What is your definition of success? You touch lives from all you do, whether it's dance, travel, or spirit. Oh, thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. And so what is your definition of success? And should you be attached to that outcome? Because if that's the case, I could consider myself a failure. If I'm going to go by my definition of success, even 10 years ago, I'm a complete failure. Absolute failure. Would you all look at me and go, oh yeah, she's failing at life? Right? I don't have my TV show. I'm not famous like John Edward. I'm not an international superstar medium. My book's not done. I'm not a published author. So does that make me a failure? If I was attached to that outcome, then I would be sad, right? But correct, you guys are all saying yet, because I'm not attached to that outcome. I understand that Spirit's got me on this path, and I tell them all the time, like, listen, you keep bringing up this book, I guess you better just rein in the squirrelness and get me to focus on this, which, by the way, I have been working on. You guys, I've been working on my book. You're welcome. And it's starting to shape up. Like, the structure of it's finally starting to shape up. So that's happening. I do have beautiful custom crowns. I do. I've got a few. Aren't these pretty? I love, it's almost Leo season, you guys. You know what that means. My book is my first book, I've been told I'm going to write 3. Reverend Glenda told me this too. And she's not the first person to tell me this. The first book has to be my story and my truth. Because it sets the groundwork for my mediumship. Yes, Ermi. Woo, us Leos, we are fire. So it'll be my story from my perspective, so I don't piss off the family that's still living. And my truth that led me on the path to get to mediumship. Book 2 will be about the mediumship. Book 3, I want to do a children's book. And actually, I ended up I had a really great phone conversation with Pam Sears, who, as you know, has written a children's book. She's published like 3 or 4 books. And she gave me, and I have all my notes on that, on how to make that happen. But Spirit has not shown me, like, I have the framework of kind of the story, like what I want to tell in that children's book, but the framework hasn't come together yet. And Glenda, via my grandparents, all my grandparents came through in that reading, by the way, said, I have to write the first book, because once that's written, everything else falls into place. So, not being attached to my outcome, I said, okay. So I sit down, I start writing the book. The framework starts coming together, because I've been overwhelmed with, how do I write a book about my story and mediumship all in one? And so ultimately and I was overwhelmed with that. I'm like, I don't even know how to structure this book. I'm not sure even how to tell this story the right way that would make sense to other people without telling the story of other people that are still alive. Like, how do I do that? But then if I go back to non-attachment, non-attachment to the outcome and live in the flow of what is coming and how Spirit's bringing it to me, and me being accepting of the path they're taking me on, then the outcome will be what it's supposed to be. In the meantime, I still have to put in the work. I still have to pick up the breadcrumbs that they're leaving. I can't just be like, well, I see there's a trail they're leaving for me, but I think I'll go over here. No, you still have to do the work. Yeah. A children's book would be amazing. Don't be afraid. It's not a big bad ghost. Oh, that's a cute idea. That's a really cute idea, actually. And so, like, I know the Spirit will bring me these things in the right time. And, you know, I've read a number of people on this app have written books, and I've bought them. I've read them. And I just know that I have to tell my story first, even if that means no one buys it, but I get a copy of it and I put it in my trunk. I have a trunk of all the special things in my life that my children know that when I die, that they get to go through that trunk. And that is how they will be able to connect to me, is this trunk. And I've had that trunk since I was 16 years old. And I would put that book in there, because you know what? My children are not going to read that book. My husband will not read the book. I'll publish it, and literally no one in my family will read that book. You know how you just know things? See, that's what I want to do. I want to have a dragon in my book. How to dear your dragon. How to hear your dragon. Yeah. So I really believe that it's going to come. And that's why I have a child dragon with me. Like, I have a young dragon with me. I've got this big dragon and a young dragon, and which is why Fourth Wing has really connected to me, because that series. And I have, like, right here, look, it's the big dragon and the little dragons, Taryn and Andarna, right? Your 500 kids will read. So I think that my my story about me and the life I had growing up. Because I have a title for my book, by the way. You guys want to hear my title before I go? It's called, I'll go, but remind me in a second, Lori. Say squirrel in a minute, because I have a funny story about that. The title of my book is going to be Unlovable Conversations with My Inner Child. Just because of, I was born in 1971. Like, women were definitely not seen or heard. Children were not seen or heard. You throw in a big Leo energy who's born on a full moon on Friday the 13th, and then tell her she's not going to be seen or heard. So there's that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's also generational too. It's generational. And okay, all right. Thanks for coming in, Truth Wave. Appreciate you. And I've got to go too. I'm supposed to be at somebody's house here in a few minutes. And so you understand what I'm talking about, Lori. Okay, so when I first started talking about the book situation, Ladora might remember this. I had a mod named Daniel, right, Jen? And he would say, like, my book needed to be, I think we used to joke about a working title of like something about the psychic squirrel or something. And that's why I keep this squirrel in my room here. So the squirrel with the snake. Can spirit guides be here on earth because you and I have so much in common? We can be brought together for a reason. Our paths can cross for a reason. Absolutely. The little lioness that wants to roar. So maybe I'll have a whole series of children's book. Do you want to know something cool? This is how much I love my dance families. At one of the competitions, one of the moms let their daughter bring a coloring, or it was a children's book on astrology. And every one of my mini kids, they're like 7 to 9, were obsessed with this book. And they're like, look, I'm a Leo, and this is what Leo means. This is what I like. These are my favorite toys. These are my favorite foods. Da, 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 da. And they were all over it. And they're like, look, Miss Lorenda, they don't know what I do. I mean, they know that I like ghosty things and that I love Halloween. But they don't, like, the kids don't know what I do. I'm seeing a squirrel in armor because he's afraid of the dragon. Oh my God, you guys, these are amazing ideas. These are absolutely fantastic ideas. So here's the thing. This is, okay, I'm going to need somebody to put this into like a cute little doc, like a Google Doc for me, and send it to me. Because I do need to write this down. My problem is I write things down, then I turn the page and I forget they exist. Roxanne, if you're still in here, remind me that I'm writing this down on your notes page. Okay. Squirrel, armor, dragon, hearing, seeing. I'm just writing cliff notes here. Ghosts or spirits. What else? Okay. I know Lori's like, journal it, write it down, damn it. I'm writing it down. The lioness, what was that? The lioness, Bobby Boucher, but it's a devil, Bobby Boucher. But how funny would it be to have the antagonist? It was like, that's the devil. You're making that up. The little lioness that wants to roar. I like that. So I think what I'm going to do also, when I write this book that's more like the adult book, the more my children and I, like, I'm not going to tell my students that I've written this book because that's way too much information about Miss Lorenda, but their parents might read it. The Unlovable book. I hate when I do that. Like, I was on a track. I was getting ready to say something. It completely left my head because I was thinking that'd be really cute with that lion. Like, I got back to the lion thing. And I'm going to have so Krista Anderson, who was on my show last week, awesome dear friend of mine, but she was also my marital counselor. I think I'm going to ask her to write my foreword because she's been on this journey with me since I was that little shell of a person. So I might see if she wants to write my foreword when I write the big girl book. But then the mediumship, I want it to be a little more interactive, not just about my journey as a medium, but engaging and teaching people how to do it themselves. She has not. I wonder if she got it because she knew that. She was like, okay, look, I'm really looking forward to talking with her. I'll give her a nudge. She was in on YouTube earlier. YouTube or no, she was on Facebook. I'll nudge her because I wonder if it like went to spam or like she hasn't seen it for some reason. Because usually you're pretty good about. Okay, I'll say something to her. Because that's not her MO. That's not her MO at all. Like usually, I thought she said she was going to get back to you. So I'll nudge her. Anyway, I got to go. I'm in okay. Yep. I got the squirrel in the armor fighting the dragon. I love that idea. Hearing, seeing ghosts, having a dragon. I could do a whole dragon series. That'd be fun. And the little lioness that the dragon goes to dance class. So the thing about a children's book is you have to solve a problem. That's the whole idea behind the children's book is you always have to have a problem to solve. It has to be relatable. And so that's where I am. Like, I have all these great, cute little ideas for characters, but and also energy concepts. Something I teach in my dance classes is helping them understand their energy and not even from a woo-woo kind of place. I'm like, listen, okay, so what color are you today? What color are you feeling? Some of them are like, ooh, pink, girl. Most little kids are like, rainbow. I feel like a rainbow. Like, cool. So here's your energy. Like, I want you to reach all the way up and all the way down. And I want you to like grab all your energy right into a big ball right here and squeeze it. And that's how they engage their lats, their triceps, and their biceps. Right. So I'm taking all these energy analogies and creating visualizations for them. And then, so like when they go to do a plie, which is when they bend their knees, and I'll tell them, okay, now we're going to like pretend that we're stuck in something and we have to push off. And like, there's all these things, right? There's all these visualizations. And a couple of my kids were like, you need to write a book on this. So ballet shoes that don't fit the dragon. Corey, that's genius. Ballet shoes or tap shoes. I'm loving all these ideas. And I love the squirrel story. I wrote that down. Squirrel, armor, dragon, fighting the dragon. One shoe doesn't fit all. Ooh, I like that. Okay. So I can create these books, but I have to start with the problem and reverse engineer it and create the story from there. And then I have an artist who's fantastic that I think she and I are working on creating an Outlander inspired tarot deck right now. She's a fantastic artist. I would totally have her do this book. French fry book. Lucas, I adore you. You crack me up. All right, I'm going to go. I got my bathing suit on, got my stuff on. I'm going to go to my friend's house. Yeah, and see, but the children's book has to come after the first two. Oh, no, it wasn't the squirrel story. It was about my friend who like that was a whole thing. Like the squirrel thing was a situation where it was like they were like, "You're gonna write a book and it's gonna be titled something about like how a psychic squirrel brain, something about I forget what we titled it, but something musings of a squirrel psychic medium or something, that kind of thing. So anyway, thank you all for hanging out. And if you didn't get to see the whole thing, go check me out on YouTube. Make sure you follow me on YouTube anyway. Reminder, July 19th, and we've sold tickets already. We're half sold. We're half the tickets are sold now. July 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Private event with Carrie Koss and myself, where each person gets a reading from Carrie and I both. So it's a little higher price ticket, but it's very individualized, but it's a lot more affordable than doing a private one-on-one reading, especially if you had both of us. So we're going to be doing readings together, and we're really we're only allowing, like, we have a cutoff on that as far as we're limiting the amount of people that can be in that. It'll be very exclusive. We're calling it's like a boutique event. So, all right. Have a fantastic day, everybody. And I'll see you next Thursday. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Ladora. July 19th. Go check out the thing in the thing and the link in the bio. And yes, I'm going to come to Switzerland and come jump in your pool, Lucas. That's what I'm doing. I'm on my way, buddy. On the way. All right. We'll talk soon, friends. Thank you so much, everybody. And thanks, Ladora and Yessie, for your help moderating today. Make sure you guys have a fantastic day. Okay. I look forward to speaking with you too, Lori. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.